What's up, guys? So just wanted to get a late upload out tonight and talk about, some of the older sets that people who are new to the hobby probably haven't even heard of or haven't thought about in a long time, and just show you that even this stuff is still moving, and it's actually moving at a surprisingly strong rate, and we're seeing decent growth on them. So we're going to talk about the four uh, last sets from Sun and Moon era, four of the top sets in terms of fan favorites, but also box price. Obviously, there are some earlier ones, Celestial Storm, Ultra Prism, that did really well that are a bit higher in terms of box price. But the last four sets with the tag team cards that everyone loves. So first up, Team Up. This box is going for about $3,000 at this point. If you look at most recent sale, exactly $3,000, one penny off December 1st. And then you had a couple sales back in September for around $25. If you go to eBay and you look at the most recent sales on Sun and Moon Team Up booster boxes, it's about 3,900, 4,000 Canadian. So when you do the conversion, that's about $2,900 USD, and again, that's before tax. So people are probably paying $3,000 USD for a team up box, and I believe the lowest listed currently on eBay is about $5,000 Canadian. So I don't know what that would be exactly in USD, but it'd be much higher than 3,000 USD. So the box is moving up, and it's still selling. I mean, these are both sales less than a month old, which is definitely a good sign. And you still have, some really strong cards in Team Up that are continuing to go. Obviously, the Latias and Latios, the top one, is just killing it. I mean, this is the moderately played chart, but if you go look at sales, $1,000 for a Nearman Holofoil. That was yesterday, I believe. The last near mint before that was at the end of November. $1,500 on a couple of them. Just insane. This is a $1,000 card. And again, you just have so much depth in this. Like Gengar and Mimikyu, Magikarp and Whale Lord. You have some other rainbow cards. Erica's Hospitality, Sabrina's Suggestion. Tons and tons of great cards and great depth. And again, so when you look at the box price, right, we're up about 27, 28% on this year. It's probably a bit higher than that. It's probably like 35 or 40 actually. Uh, TCG players data is going to be a bit off for team up, and a lot of these sets actually just because there aren't as many sales uh, over the past year, past month on TCG player because these boxes are worth more, right? They don't move as often, but you're still seeing 25 to 35% growth on a lot of these older sets year over year, which is a very good sign. But just keep note of that, right? About 35%, especially when compared to other good sets, but slightly less good sets. And that might give you an idea, and you can apply that to potentially Sword and Shield era, what Evolving Skies will do compared to something like Fusion Strike or Chilling Reign, and what Surging Sparks might do compared to something like Paradox Rift or I don't know, Twilight Masquerade, right? So Team Up still moving. Next, Unbroken Bonds up about 21% on the year. According to TCG Player, $723, 724. Most recent sales actually put it closer to $800, and it's selling pretty consistently in that $780 to $800 range. This was December 5th. On the 2nd, you had a 780 sale. November 29th, you had a couple sales at 800, 764. So it is probably closer to that $800 price point, which means you're probably closer to 30% or even more in terms of percentage gain on the year. So if Team Up's about 40% return, your Unbroken Bonds is about 30%, which is still great, right? The box is $700. A year ago was about $600. So great sign there. You still have tons of depth. Obviously, the Gardevoir and Sylveon GX up top. You have the Reshiram and Charizard GX, the Blastoise, Secret Rare, Greninja, and Zoroark, and a couple other cards. So, yeah, great overall set. The Gardevoir and Sylveon is still doing well. I was down to around 175 in the summer, now back up to about 250. And I think most recent sales maybe a little bit lower than that. Those are light played, actually, I should say, though. So, most recent near mint 232, December 5th. So, in that range, top cards are still doing well. Unified Minds, second to last one. Box is about $775. This was a set I thought was undervalued for the longest time, just because when you looked at the market and loose pack value compared to the booster box, it was a much lower ratio than most of the other sets like Team Up, like Evolving Skies, like Cosmic Eclipse, and some of the stronger sets. So I did think that there was room for the booster box to move up to around that $800 range. When we look at most recent sales, they are over $800. So it's not surprising to me that this has moved into this $800 range. And I think it's going to continue to establish itself as an $850 box, and then slowly creep up towards 900 probably sometime next year. And again, decent sales, right? December 11th, 816, 815 the day before. December 5th and 1st, there were sales as well for 800 and 805. So $800 box, most recent sales. Great to see from Unified Minds. Reminder, some of the cards, you have the waifu element in the Misty. You have the Mewtwo and Mew card. And again, I love these tag team cards. I think a lot of these are just great. I love the artwork. I did watch the Sun and Moon anime series, actually in Mandarin when I was learning Mandarin, but definitely brings back memories for me watching and seeing some of these Pokemon, these cards. They're just great. The Mega Sableye and the Tyranitar, awesome. Raichu and a Lone Raichu. I love that one as well. Slowpoke and Psyduck, like great artworks, great fan favorite Pokemon as well. So it's not surprising that any of these sets are still crushing it over the past couple of years. And again, I just brought up Misty's Favor, up 20% on the year as well. Probably a bit higher than this, actually. It's probably closer to 30% because most recent sales are pushing that 230, 210. So in that 210, 220 range, probably towards all-time highs, or at least one-year highs, rather. And then finally, Cosmic Eclipse. This has surpassed $1,000 at this point. Again, still over 20% gain on the year. And most recent sales actually put it closer to $1,100. So again, probably closer to 25, 30% return on the past 12 months for this box. And that's a great sign, right? Like Cosmic Eclipse, Unified Minds, Unbroken Bonds, and Team Up. These boxes are at this point like 4 or 5 years old, maybe even 6 almost for Team Up. I can't remember exactly, but around that 5-year point for most of them. So it's good to see that this long into their lifespan, they're still growing, and that's a good sign for things like Evolving Skies. It's a good sign for sets like Fusion Strike and Chilling Reign and Lost Origin, and it's going to be a good sign, potentially moving into the future for sets like Twilight Masquerade, Surging Sparks, and potentially other sets that we have coming, later this year. So, and into next year, into 2025. So, just know that you can still make gains on these more expensive boxes. Don't think that you shouldn't buy an Evolving Skies box at $1,000 because something like Team Up, where when you look at it objectively, Evolving Skies actually has higher value in terms of cards and set value. It's probably a more favored set compared to something like Team Up. If Team Up is still getting 30 to 40% returns year over year, something like Evolving Skies could absolutely do that. And in a couple of years, we could definitely see Evolving Skies pushing that $2,000, maybe even $3,000 for a booster box. And then Fusion Strike, Chilling Reign, Lost Origin. There's no reason not to believe that a lot of these sets couldn't be like Unbroken Bonds, Unified Minds, and Cosmic Eclipse and move into that $800, $900 range as well within the next couple of years. So that's really the only video I wanted to put out today. And just a reminder for some cards in Cosmic Eclipse. You do have the Rosa, Arceus, Dialga, Palkia, Cynthia and Caitlyn, Blastoise and Piplup, Solgaleo and Lunala, Lily's Full Force. That was one thing about Sun and Moon era we really haven't seen in Sword and Shield and into Scarlet and Violet era. The artists really knew what they were doing with waifu cards. Again, I'm not a huge fan of waifu cards, but they are important in the sense that they carry value. There are lots of people that want them. The types of cards we get now, they just seem like they're more catered towards people that are, more likely to be fans of the character than the actual card, if you guys are following my drift. So for us investors, that probably brings set values down, unfortunately, which means we're probably not going to gain as much on our investments in the short term. But for collectors, it's definitely a good thing. So I'm not mad about it. And yeah, even some of these artworks, man, like the Solgaleo and Lunala, I really love some of these cards from Sun and Moon era. Again, like if you watch the anime, you grew up in this time period, a lot of these cards are really, really nice to look at and, bring back good memories. So that's all I got for you guys today. Just know that, with everything going on, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, remember that other sets, other eras, they're still moving. Those markets don't go to sleep just because people are focused on the newest thing. And it does seem like people are silently putting money back into these and still loading up on these boxes. So it's really interesting to see. And again, I used to do a monthly update on Sun and Moon. I'm not doing that anymore. So this might become like a 3 month to 6 month thing when I do it, because it normally doesn't get as many views and people don't find it as interesting. But I figured it was important to talk about right now. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, liking the video, using affiliate links. Again, I saw a couple of you guys use those, so thank you so much. It really helps out. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.